So we knew coming in this game, tremendous respect for Coach Hodge. Known him for a number of years and knew his team was going to come in and play extremely hard with great purpose and physicality. And obviously to start the game, they did a great job of that. He had them very well prepared, and I know they're going to get better as the year moves on. But really proud of our guys for the way we share the basketball is more of a sign of how much our guys enjoy playing together, how much they like to play for each other, their intentionality to get the best shot we can as a team. And so I think that's probably the thing to take away from tonight more than anything is when you have 29 made field goals and 26 assists, that says a lot about guys trying to get the best shot they can for their teammates, and it speaks volumes to their character. So proud of them for doing that from start to finish.
Seemed like the first maybe 14, 15 minutes were sloppy for you guys. What kicked into gear at the end of the first half for the second?
Yeah, I think certainly to start the game, they did some things to space us out. We weren't as at the standard that we would like to be at defensively, so we're not used to seeing people starting the game scoring the way they were, and I think it mentally affected us. We can continue to get better at having that next play mentality that way. I felt like in the first half, we had 9 live offensive rebounds and 11 second chance points. I think, when you play in this league against the physicality of the defenses and how good the players and coaches are, you've got to be able to find ways to produce baskets even when things aren't going well. And Blake Buchanan has established himself as one of the best offensive rebounders in all of college basketball. And Joshua Jefferson had a huge and one, later in the first half on the offensive glass. So I think, again, we didn't have that rhythm early. Credit them. They're a very physical defensive team. They rotate quickly. But as the game wore on, we were able to space them more, attack the paint better, get better ball movement, especially late in that first half and into the second.
How would you rate or evaluate this team's ability to go on those runs that turn a close game into a 12 or a 13-point separation?
Yeah, it's been great to see because we have multiple guys that can push the ball in transition, right? So when Joshua gets a rebound or Taman, Killian, and they can push it up, it really puts stress on the defense. And then when you're doing that, you have to have great awareness to Milan at all times because he's shooting it with such consistency. And so there's so many things to worry about when we get that push going. And that's why it's so imperative for us to generate turnovers, to force our opponents into duress so we can get live ball turnovers, score off of our defense, and then when we get those long rebounds, be able to push it. That's when we're at our best, and I think when we do that, we usually play pretty well.
TJ, the other day, Tim said something to the effect of freshmen aren't looked as freshmen anymore once Big 12 play starts. Is that how you typically look at it every year, or does it vary depending on the group or the personnel?
I think, the freshmen we're fortunate to have, they have great maturity. So I think even from the start, guys hadn't looked like freshmen. If you watched Killian, Don Plata, or Bateman play, they don't carry themselves as freshmen. They carry themselves as guys with great maturity, great pride in our program, and they leave it on the court, right? They play with great effort. Certainly, again, in conference play, there's going to be a ramped up physicality. And so I think what Taman's alluding to is that, when you get into league play, you've got to make sure that those experiences you've had up to that point have really prepared you to be at your best, because Taman knows better than anybody how great this league is and the coaches and players and what it takes every night. So I credit those guys for the work they do every day. They'll be back in the gym tomorrow morning, again, doing the work. And I think, I'm always going to be a believer in the guys that invest in themselves and each other. You'll reap the benefits, when the games come on.
And how do you evaluate Joshua's feel for the game? We've seen the games where he has maybe 15 plus shot attempts and, gets to the rim a ton, but now we see a game like today where he has 6, but he's more of a facilitator in today's game.
Yeah, I think the thing that separates Joshua more than anything is his intellect, his knowledge, feel, understanding for the game, and what the situation presents and where he can impact winning most. There's going to be some nights we play people and they stay home with guys and challenge them to finish. There's going to be nights like tonight where they always bring a rotation, help, double team defender, and he can keep the ball in the move. But I think what separates him is all those ways he can impact winning. He can impact it on the glass, he can impact it with his passing, he can impact it with his scoring, getting downhill. And so it's just night in and night out, you know, him taking advantage of all the skills that he has to impact winning, and then him continuing to trust his teammates like he did tonight, and then you end up with 10 assists.
You guys improved to 14-0. You're 1-0 now in Big 12 play. Perhaps this is a silly question, but how much fun has this season been for you so far?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the fun is the process, right? The fun is the time we spend together every day. The fun is the breakfast, the laughs that we have, the meals that we're fortunate to have in the afternoon. The fun is finding ways, even though that practice takes a necessary amount of work, physicality, and commitment to toughness, that we enjoy that process. And so I think, look, on the night of the game, we're highly competitive. You know, we want to come out with an intent each night to go 1-0 and to win that game. But the fun, as much as what you see on the night of the game, the fun is all the stuff that we're able to experience and enjoy together, you know, at practice, in those meals, while we're traveling, while we're hanging out. And it's just a really high character group of guys who are about the right things and enjoy spending time together. So we're just going to take it one day at a time, enjoy, you know, each day, each moment that we have together, and know that that investment in time will continue to pay off for us when the games come.
You guys have talked so much about Momcilovic's consistency as a shooter this year. Coach Hodge talked about how his size makes him such a difficult player to defend as a shooter. Curious what your opinion is on how his size helps him become a good three-point shooter.
Well, I mean, his release point and his size, right? So those two things combine together. So what you see a lot of the time is people trying to take that three away, and as you're trying to contest, you leave your feet. And then when you do that, he's going to sidestep and he's going to shoot, and that's a great rhythm shot for him. And so it becomes really challenging because you have to make a determination. Are you going to leave your feet to contest? If you are, that's what you're going to, you know, deal with. If you get off balance, what he's proven this year is he can drive a closeout. He's playing with a lot of force with the dribble, getting in the paint, getting to his back down, getting to his step through, his spin move. And so he's just such a complete player that way that I think it's all of those things that go together. And I'd say shoot tonight, I got, as much as the threes are great, there's times guarding the dribble, man, that dude's moving his feet and having collisions, and he's getting traffic rebounds. I'm like, I know we're going to talk about his shooting, and it's amazing. But I'm really proud of him for the complete player that he is, and the defender, rebounder. I want to honor those things too, because he's worked really hard on all aspects of his game, and it's paying off for him.
How big of a turning point was it 1915? The fans come to their feet. You guys haven't been operating the way you'd like to. Immediately get the three from Jamarian, get a stop. I think he missed a second. Another stop. He gets a three, then immediately. Coach Hodge talked about that being big, but just that moment where Hilton coalesced with the player getting hot in the right moment.
Yeah, that's a big word.
Sorry.
No, I'm not smart enough to know what it means, but what I can tell you is, no, I know you're way above my level here, but look, there's going to be times where things don't go as well, and we're so fortunate. Our fans show up for us, and you know, again, late game, no students, and we have a sellout. Not only do we have a sellout, we have tremendous energy, and we need it. And I think that's the cool part about being a Cyclone, being at Hilton Coliseum, is that we know we're not going to play, you know, perfect every night, or we're going to have, you know, moments where things don't go as well, but we know we can count on our fans. And then that energy, you know, Jamarian hits the three, and that energy, he can feel it. Now one comes back the other way, and I felt like we were watching like Tyrese McGee from the old days, right? And he's coming right in off the bench, and it's like that instant production. So look, I think really grateful to our fans and appreciative of our fans, because their energy and enthusiasm really pushed us through some challenging times there where things weren't going the way we wanted early in the game.
And just one more shortly after that, I think right before the half, tying into what you mentioned about sharing the basketball so well. They did it after an offensive rebound. I think Joshua got an offensive rebound, goes through a couple of guys back to him, another three for Milan. How big is that? Because you don't always see that level of sharing on a second chance point, you know?
Yeah, you know, the thing, we start practice every single day with what we call hammers and daggers, right? Which is go to the offensive glass, two-handed rebounds, and if you have a direct alley or lane to the basket to finish it, do that. If not, let's look for that kick out. And it's probably as good a time as any to try to find Milan and get him a great look. And so I think, you know, it takes an effort and a commitment to get the rebound. And like I said, in that first half, we had 11 of them, 9 of them live ball rebounds. And now when you get them and you're able to either score it at the rim or get those threes, those are demoralizing plays. I mean, those are plays that, you know, when you're on the other side of it, you know that those are ones that can break your psyche. So really speaks volumes of Joshua. And again, he and Milan have great chemistry together. Like he's definitely looking for Milan and has a belief in him. And Milan's definitely honoring that by being aggressive, hunting those opportunities and producing.
How much are games like this, when we're asking about J-Jeff and Milan, games where Nate really thrives? Like, he was plus 22 today.
No, I think Heisey, you know, he really elevates. The better the competition, the better he plays. Nate's a tremendous winner, tremendous competitor. The stats don't ever tell the story, but physical rebounds, cutting with purpose, extra passes, driving through contact, he is such a winning player. And like you said, if you want to look at that number and say in 22 minutes he's plus 22, that's maybe one way to look at the value he brought. And I knew at halftime we need to get him in the game a little sooner and give him a little more run, because you could just tell he knows the stakes are higher in league play. He knows that the teams are going to be really good coming in here, and I think he always steps up and rises to the challenge.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, TJ.
Thanks for the time.
Opening statement, guy.
Yeah.